You are not alone on your journey. Listen in to the Unshakeable Living Show, Supernaturally and Divinely Unshakable with Lysa Beltz. Twice a month for your well-deserved dose of positive energy and your personal reminder that you are perfectly imperfect, and that's okay. Find your true calling and influence the world around you for the better with your profound gifts. Walk away feeling truly unshakable. Remember, God can't steer a parked car, so step on the gas now with Lysa and let him do the rest. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. And just in case you're curious, Transformation Talk Radio broadcasts in over 120 countries. So wherever you're joining us from, welcome. We're glad to have you here with us. This is Lysa, and I am a life coach extraordinaire, as well as a podcast host. And my beautiful guest this evening is Jennifer Stewart from Nova Scotia, Canada. Jennifer, welcome.
Thank you, Lysa. I am so excited to be here. This feels like it's been a long time coming.
It has. We've done a couple of things together, so this is just really, really fun to have you here this evening. So I wanted to start off by just having you introduce yourself, a little bit of your background, and just kind of tell us what you're going to talk about tonight.
Well, as Lysa mentioned, my name is Jennifer Stewart, and I live in Malagash, Nova Scotia, which is on the Northumberland Strait, which happens to be the warmest waters north of the Carolinas. So fun fact for the day. And I'm a mom, I'm a glamma. I've got 6 grandbabies with another on the way. I've been in the corporate world for 20 plus years and then figured, what am I going to do when I grow up? So at 40 years old, I went through a big giant transformation. And I figured that, I wasn't where I thought I was going to be. And I thought, what can I do? And I knew that I had to do something that was helping people. So I've always been involved with self-development and learning. It's my passion to grow and to improve. And I thought, what am I going to do? And that's when I discovered that my strengths in helping and mentoring and coaching people is actually a profession as a coach. So I thought, wow, I can actually do what I love. In the corporate world, I didn't get a chance to do that very often. But, when you have those things that you absolutely love to do, and then you're able to sort of harness that energy and actually do something to make a difference. So I went and I became certified as a coach. I went back to school and I did adult education. And then I got further into energy work. I've been a Reiki master since 2002. And then a couple of years ago, I discovered the emotion code, which was a game changer for me, honestly. And it was something that I wasn't sure that I was going to get as involved with it right away, but the universe has ways to kind of nudge us sometimes. Basically, it wouldn't leave me alone. So lo and behold, I ended up getting certified as an emotion code practitioner much sooner than what I thought. But that kind of gives a little bit of, a little bit of who I am. I am always somebody who loves to feel good and kind of bring the joy. And I started my business back in 2011 when I left the corporate world, and I really wanted to make a difference. So in 2015, I found the brand Find Your Sparkle, and that's evolved a lot since then. And in 2017, I started my own radio show called Find Your Sparkle with Jen, and I've got coaching programs and mentoring programs along the lines of bringing sparkle into people's lives. So that kind of wraps it up in a nutshell.
Great. Well, so I want to go back and pick up on something you talked about, just in case any of our listeners aren't sure what energy work is. Can you describe that a little bit?
Sure. Well, we know that everything is energy. whether it seems like it is or not, all this, the hard stuff, the soft stuff, everything in between, even our thoughts is our energy. So when you think about the fact that everything is energy, it made a lot of sense to me that energy work is real. And the good news is, and this is one of the things that I absolutely love, is that science is catching up to spirituality. And science now is proving that energy work, guess what? It does work.
It's real.
It is definitely real. And you and I have had some really amazing discussions and amazing sessions together. And, one of our favorite things to say is that you can't make this stuff up.
Exactly.
And, we always have a lot of fun. But in a nutshell, I want to get into Reiki, for instance, uses the universal energy to help to clear blockages so that you have a flow of energy that goes, in a circular kind of motion that is free from any obstacles.
What would create an energetic block in the first place?
Well, there are lots and lots of different things, and life is probably the biggest culprit of that. But I just want to get into the emotion code side of things, which can even delve in a little bit deeper. So we know that our thoughts create energy and they can create energetic blocks. And also the lack of processing things, where as a society, we've been kind of conditioned to hold things in. We don't like to feel uncomfortable. We don't like to feel those feelings that don't feel so good. So rather than experiencing them, feeling them, we stuff them. And every now and again, you get that epiphany. And I heard this song the other day that was really random, and it was, Don't Cry Out Loud. I mean, remember that song?
Oh, so
when you think about it, we've really, as a society,
been drilled into us.
We have. I mean, big boys don't cry, pull up your pants, put your big girl panties on. I mean, all of these things are really, really encouraging us to stuff our emotions. And when we stuff our emotions, we end up with a little block of trapped energy. And the more that we stuff, the more of these trapped emotions that we end up in our body, which basically it can cause sickness. It can cause lack of energy. It can cause lack of, the joy, the sparkle. It can cause us to not be, just not showing up as our best selves. We can also inherit things. This is a lot of stuff. We don't even think about this. And, I like to say, you don't know what you don't know. But when you do know, you can't unknow it. So when you learn about this stuff, it really is something that, you can run with. And you really, like for me, I couldn't let it go. I thought, holy smokes, that makes a lot of sense. So when you consider over the course of your lifetime, never mind all of the inherited stuff, how much have you stuffed? How many things have you got trapped inside of you? And the other part of that, you've probably heard, the emotional baggage. That's basically, that's what this is, an emotional baggage. And it can be heavy, really heavy. And I mean, you may think non-literally, but it's actually literally. When you start when you start to release these trapped emotions and all of that emotional baggage, you can physically feel lighter. And all of a sudden you're standing taller.
Yes, I can.
Right.
And how?
Right. Oh my gosh. It's so true. And, you feel lighter, you show up differently, different things that have happened to you in your life. All of a sudden things start to come together. You start to realize, wow, that really impacted me. But the best thing is that you can be free to be the beautiful, amazing you that you're meant to be.
That's awesome. So, and I want to shift gears just slightly. And so I know we talked about that the title of the show today is How to Maintain Your Sparkle in the Midst of Challenge. And I kind of took us down just a little bit of a rabbit trail, but I think it ties right into the title of the show. So how do I know that I'm in a challenging season? How do I know I'm not just having an off day or a bad day? What can be triggers? What can be signpost that says, hey, this is something I need to pay attention to?
Well, that's a big question. And there are a lot of ways that we can go with that. The first thing is that a lot of times we're unaware. And something sometimes happens to give us that shift, to kind of kick us into awareness. And it might be something little, it could be something big. It could be an illness, it could be a confrontation, it could be, all of a sudden you realize that, oh my golly, I haven't left the house and haven't really talked to anybody social. I haven't had, something, you have some kind of an epiphany. Yeah. And then of course, your family members, your friends, there might be comments, there might be concern, people may be worried. You just may not feel like it's you, that you're you. Yes. And there's nothing worse than not feeling like yourself.
That's
sometimes, true. Oh my gosh, I've been there. I've been there numerous times over my life. But when you realize, that's when you can start to take action. That's when you can start to say, oh my gosh, this is not who I am. Now I need to figure out what I'm going to do. And sometimes, when you're in that book, you can't see the cover. Right. And you need somebody else sometimes to help guide you, to help mentor you, to help drag you out. But the bottom line is when you feel like all of a sudden you're just not showing up the way that you were. And it takes sometimes, like I remember about 20 years ago, it took me probably 2 years to figure out, what is actually going on. And I lost myself and didn't even realize it. And then once I did, and I started doing, more evolution, and I really started digging deep and figuring things out, it was a huge wake up call. I just absolutely, you don't know until you get that wake up call. Sometimes you can go on like that forever.
We talk about that awareness is half the battle. So I think in this work that is really true. And even with, life coaching, the business coaching that I do, having somebody get that aha moment is just huge. So how can we set ourselves up for those ahas?
Well, I think you have to be open. That's a huge thing. I have a quote that I have on my portable desk in my sunroom, and it says, sometimes you need to hear things about yourself. And for me, that was a huge wake up call. And, we're oblivious a lot of times. Today I was at a conference and, someone was talking about how, they didn't see themselves as anybody that was energetic, or they didn't see themselves having charisma. And it was one of those things where, oh my goodness, everybody else told me I had it, but we don't see that. So it's important to be aware, to, pay attention and really, notice things about yourself. What is your self-talk? That's a huge thing. And becoming aware of that self-talk, I know it can be problematic for a while, because sometimes it can be pretty scary. Yeah. And so, I know, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we need to pause and take just a short break. And when we come back, I know you have an awesome giveaway for us today. So let's first talk about your giveaway when we come back.
Perfect.
Don't go away, everybody. Join us back here in about a minute and a half. Take control over your future. I'm Lysa Beltz, and I'm here to help you realize your true potential and become unshakable. Schedule a completely free introductory coaching session with me now to see for yourself how I work. Get the divine guidance that you need to transform your life for the better. Go to lysabeltz.com and take that step towards transformation. That's LYSABELTZ. You are made for more. I'm Coach Lysa, and I'm here to help you achieve ultimate life satisfaction. Your life matters to the world. Reimagine your future with an individualized life by design approach with my free ebook, The 5 C's of Coaching: Commitment, Clarity, Coachable, Creative, and Change. Find the transformation you're looking for. Go to lysabeltz.com. That's LYSABELTZ.
There is divinity within you. Join Lysa Beltz on her show, The Unshakable Living Show, Supernaturally and Divinely Unshakable, twice a month, and find that divinity that you deserve. Lysa will help you feel encouraged, empowered, and realize that you're not alone on your journey. With Lysa, address the foundation, the frame, and the finish of your dreams and become truly
And welcome back. We are here today with the lovely Jennifer Stewart. And we've been talking about emotion code and energy work and how to survive some of the challenges and how to know when you're in a challenge and not just having a bad day. And Jen, before we go back into some of the meatier stuff, I know you have an awesome giveaway for our listeners today. Would you take just a couple of minutes and kind of talk about your masterclass?
Absolutely. With everything that's been going on, I realized that, people needed something to give them a little bit more sparkle, to help them to have more energy in their life. So I thought, what can I do to serve? So I created a 3-day master class to create your own sparkle energy roadmap. And it's a lot of fun. It helps you to kind of dig deep, get to know yourself a little bit more, and to kind of make a plan to help you to have more sparkle in your life, to feel more joy, to be able to show up better, to really dig deep and figure out some ways that you can, on a daily basis, bring more sparkle into your life and have that, feeling more light and love, positivity, and of course, having more joy and sparkle. And I had a lot of fun with it. And there's a workbook that comes with it, and as well as your sparkle energy roadmap as well. So there's going to be a link there and I really encourage you to download it and have a listen. You can listen to it as many times as you like and go through it. But I'm sure that you're going to have a couple of aha moments. That's pretty much guaranteed. If you make the commitment to actually, you want to have more sparkle in your life, you can definitely do this. And by creating your own sparkle energy roadmap, I highly recommend it.
Awesome. So what we're going to do is the first listener to email me at coachlysa@lysabelts.com. So COACHLYSA at LYSABELTZ.com. The first listener to email me will get Jen's free giveaway tonight. There will also be a link on the episode. So once you reach out, we can get that link to you. So thank you, Jen. That's a really generous offer, and it is much appreciated.
My pleasure.
So switching gears a little bit, I guess one of the questions is, has your life always been easy? Have you had any challenges that have given you an opportunity to learn some of this firsthand?
Oh my goodness. We don't have quite enough time to go into all of that, Lysa. But I can definitely give you a few examples of how I've experienced some hard times and some challenging times, and still managed to keep sparkle throughout.
Yep.
And I think that for me personally, I think that I feel like I have 9 lives. I've had a lot of close calls in my life. I was born premature. I was very sickly as a young child. My grandfather pronounced me dead, for goodness sakes, a couple of times from not breathing, and then I had all of the childhood illnesses. I don't know how my parents stood it, because, right from meningitis even to, the mumps and the measles and whooping cough and all of it. It's just a lot of stuff that was not easy. And through it all, I don't know, I was that little kid who just was go, 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 go. It didn't even matter what I was doing. And then I became a daredevil. And then I was accident prone, and I got hit by a motorcycle, run over, had no skin on my body, had to sleep standing up for 2 months. And it was not a lot of fun, but somehow I managed to, keep the sparkle. Fast forward, 19, car accident, broke my back, was told that I was not going to have kids, told I was not going to play sports, told that I would have a hunchback, told the doctor, I don't think so, pal. That's not my story. Yeah. And, I remember the specialist coming in and saying, well, young lady, you're going to have to get used to a different kind of life than you ever imagined. And I thought, I don't think so, buddy.
No, I don't
So
think so.
I made up my mind. And, I think that's a really critical thing to point out, is that when you make a decision, and a real decision where you're cutting off any other option, for me, there was no option. I mean, fast forward, I have 2 biological children. I can still play whatever sports that I want. And I'm certainly never, ever, ever going to have a hunchback. And that was, I think, a huge wake-up call for me. And I thought, wow, imagine if I had listened to that doctor. How easy would it be to be, I wouldn't be the same person right now. I would be, a bitter woman sitting here with a hunchback, because that's what somebody told me. The so-called expert told me that that was going to happen. And I think that it's always been, I was the kid at school I was the talker. Jennifer's a nice girl to have in the class, but she's a big talker and she can be disruptive sometimes. So all the
that
my
just
parents
shocks me.
I know. But when I think about it now, even in junior high, we had, it wasn't easy as kids. Like, there were my two of my best friends and I got picked on quite a bit. And, even still, it was one of those things where I'm not letting someone else decide how I'm going to show up. And that's a choice. Again, that's a decision. So, when you become aware and you look at things around and you think, okay, well, this is not what I want. This is not how it's going to happen. This is not my plan. And then you can make a shift and a mindset shift. It's incredible what you can do when you actually have a shift in your mind. And I use the example when I was younger and, you have all these visions of your life. I was determined when I finished school, I was going to work with the federal government. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter what I was that was my goal. And I did it. And then as soon as I did it, I thought, oh, okay, well, and I worked there for a while, but it wasn't fulfilling. And I had a lot of negativity around me. And I don't like dealing with negativity. And it's easy to get sucked into it. And if you're surrounded by negativity, whether it be at home, with friends, with family, with work, with coworkers, whatever it is, it's easy to get sucked in. And I became a student of observing people. And the more that I love people watching, and I learn so much from watching people, and it enabled me to really understand a lot about how people think and how people can get stuck in their situation, whether it be, maybe it's a marriage, maybe you're having financial problems, maybe you're having career problems, maybe you're having everything all at the same time. That happens. That has happened. I mean, I know that has happened. And when you're in that situation, please don't think that I'm minimizing this at all, because I'm not. It's hard. It's really hard. But what's harder is being stuck.
Yes.
And staying stuck.
Absolutely.
And I've been there too. And again, it's a decision. So I want to talk a couple of things that I've learned about that, being in the midst of the storm and still being able to keep your sparkle. Again, it's not easy. It does take work, but it is doable. So again, the first thing is awareness. And then making a decision. Okay, what do I want? What is happening here? How can I rise above that and not get sucked into that negativity? And it is challenging. But when you make up your mind and decide, find things that will help you really start caring about how you feel. And I know when you're in that dark place, that's not easy. And if you're in the dark place, give yourself lots of grace. Give yourself time, because sometimes you just need to be in that space. You need to go through whatever it is that you have to go through, but don't let it take over your life. Have some time frames on that. You can, and it can be different for everyone. That time frame could be a month. You don't really want it to go much longer, because then it's going to become more habitual. Then it's easy to stay stuck.
It is.
I like for myself now, I mean, I'm not going to have the pity parties, but if I have to have a moment, it's like, okay, this is, I have to experience this because we don't want to stuff them because then we end up with the trapped
You have to
emotions
process
again.
through it. Yep.
Right. So you have to process. So you have to learn and you have to condition yourself to be okay with feeling icky, okay with feeling sad, okay with feeling angry, okay with feeling the resentment for a minute. And when you think about it, all these feelings is energy.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
So as I'm processing through this, I know, journaling is probably the first method or technique that comes up in my mind of how do you process through that? So for our listeners that are going, oh my gosh, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in that challenge. I understand you're saying I have trapped grief. What do I do with it?
Well, energy work is definitely something that is extremely helpful. I highly recommend it. But as you say, Lysa, journaling is a huge tool. It really does help in everything. The other thing to do is to make up your mind that you want to feel good. So find things that make you feel good. Find an anchor point, something that makes you happy, whether it's holding your puppy, whether it's petting your cat, or it's holding a baby, or whatever it is. Find something that brings you joy and use that as an anchor point. So when you're feeling icky, you can turn it around, go to your anchor point and think, okay, this is how I want to feel. And you and I talked about, feeling that connection, that, that love and that light that expands. Focus on feeling good and make that a priority in your life. No, it's not always easy. I know that. There are a number of things, have a good self-care practice. That's something that we forget about. And it's not selfish. I mean, I think people are changing. They're starting to realize that, self-care is extremely important, and most of us, a lot of times we're trying to serve and help from an empty cup. It doesn't work. Nope. We end up burnt out. We end up resentful. We end up feeling like martyrs. It's not healthy to give like that. And even a half cup, you hear that saying, is your cup half full or half empty? What about a cup that's overflowing?
Exactly.
How about we start filling up that cup with all the good stuff in our life? Because guess what? If you've got a roof over your head and food in your belly, somebody who loves you, starting with yourself, become your own best friend, really start monitoring what you're saying to yourself, that head trash in there. Would you talk this way to your best friend?
Exactly. Or anyone for that matter.
Anyone is right. So really, I challenge everyone to become their own best friend. No, it isn't easy. Yeah. And how can you do that? You can start with some affirmations. Again, go with that feeling. And I know some people have a hard time finding their good qualities. If that's you, find your best friend and ask them to tell you what they love about you. What are your strengths?
One thing. Start with one thing.
Yes. I mean, it can be overwhelming because many of us it's foreign concept to be nice to ourselves. We really don't recognize it. But when you start being aware, I like to get people to wear an elastic band and start paying attention to what's happening in their head. And every time that they're, have that negative comment, flick it. You might be surprised. You might end up with some bruises on there.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that love yourself, focus on feeling good, look for the good, remember all the things around you to be grateful for.
Yeah.
It's huge.
So if someone was interested in scheduling an emotion code session with you to kind of start exploring this, how do they find you?
Oh my goodness. Well, I think the best way to find me right now is on Facebook at Jazz Potential, and that's JAS Potential, as in Jennifer Ann Stewart.
Yes.
It's a big line. I do have a link to be able to book a complimentary first-time emotion code session. Awesome. I highly recommend it. If you've never done it, it's definitely worth exploring.
Yeah, and Jennifer's links are all on this episode on the Transformation Talk Radio website. And again, I will be posting the link for the replay tomorrow. Jennifer, I know we're pretty much out of time. Thank you so much, my friend. This has been absolutely great. Your giveaway is much appreciated, your knowledge and expertise, and just your sparkle. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun.
Okay, we'll do this again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Lysa.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.
You've been listening to the Unshakable Living Show, Supernaturally and Divinely Unshakable with Lysa Beltz. Tune in twice a month for your well-deserved dose of positive energy and your personal reminder that you are perfectly imperfect, and that's okay. Find your true calling and influence the world around you for the better with your profound gifts. Walk away feeling truly unshakable. Remember, God can't steer a parked car, so step on the gas now with Lysa and let Him do the rest.